What's going on, Ravens fans? Welcome into the show. My name is Joey Peterson. Coming up on today's program, we're going to dive into Mel Kiper's second mock draft of this offseason. Now, he's done a couple of collaborations with guys like Field Yates, other ESPN NFL draft insiders, but this is his second standalone one. If we throw it back to the first, just a quick reminder, Makai Lemon was the Baltimore Ravens selection in his eyes at pick number 14, wide receiver out of USC. And I know that these don't actually mean anything, right? Just because Mel Kiper says it's going to happen does not mean it does happen. It's not up to Mel Kiper who the Baltimore Ravens select. It's up to Eric DeCosta, Jesse Minter, a ton of people in that organization. But I do want to give Kiper a little bit of credit, which might give these mock drafts a little bit more value in your eyes, because he absolutely nailed the Baltimore Ravens last year in multiple mock drafts, starting from February all the way on. He had Makai Starks falling to 27 and being the selection for the Baltimore Ravens. And as we know, that did end up happening. But what do they do at 14 in 2026? That's the question we're answering today. Fernando Mendoza is his number one overall pick to the Las Vegas Raiders. Caleb Downs to the Jets. David Bailey to the Cardinals. Arvell Reese to the Titans. Spencer Fano to the Giants. Carnell Tate to the Browns. Sonny Styles to the Commanders. Makai Lemon to the Saints. Jeremiyah Love to the Chiefs. Rueben Bain to the Bengals. Francis Mauigoa, the offensive tackle out of Miami. He's going to go to the Miami Dolphins. Mansoor Delane, the cornerback out of LSU. He'll go to the Cowboys. At 13, right above Baltimore, the Los Angeles Rams will select Jermod McCoy, cornerback out of Tennessee. Real quick, before I tell you who the Baltimore Ravens draft, I got this as the pinned comment on today's show. Who would you pick in this scenario? Okay, I want you to be Eric DeCosta. At 14, if the board falls like it does, who are you picking? Let me know down below in the comments section. Jordyn Tyson. That is the pick from Mel Kiper, wide receiver out of Arizona State. We've done a good bit of these mock draft reactions over the last couple of months. It seems among the insiders that Baltimore Ravens drafting a wide receiver might actually be a possibility, because I swear this is like the fifth time it's happened. Regardless, I digress. Here's a little bit more from Mel Kiper. The Ravens should bounce back in 2026, but they'll be looking for a true outside receiver with the hands to soak in a bunch of Lamar Jackson targets. Going with Tyson here would allow Zay Flowers to live in the slot where he is at his best and lift the whole offense. Tyson caught 8 touchdown passes in 2025, and he excels on contested catches thanks to his 6'2" frame and overall strength. It would be the 6th time that Baltimore took a pass catcher in the first round since 2015, but the team clearly needs more options in the pass game. Rashad Bateman has been inconsistent, and DeAndre Hopkins, Isaiah Likely, and Tylan Wallace are all free agents. Look, he makes a lot of really, really good points. And I truly believe that Jordyn Tyson has the ability to be the best wide receiver in this draft. Like, he's got that skill set. There are things to be wary of, like his injury history. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But just his build mixed with his ability to run routes, catch the football, his speed, like, he's got everything you could possibly want in a wide receiver one in the National Football League. And I think he could be that wherever he goes year one. 2025 was a good year for him. 711 yards, 11.7 yards a catch, 8 touchdowns, and 1 drop, which is very, very important, because if you look back to 2024, he had 7 drops with Arizona State, so a massive, massive step in the correct direction. He had more yards, receptions, touchdowns, all in 2024, but he played more games, and also, you got to remember, Sam Levitt was injured for a lot of that season at Arizona State this last year. He did miss a lot of time due to a hamstring injury in 2025. Also has missed time due to an ACL, MCL injury, collarbone as well. And so there are concerns to be had when it comes to Jordyn Tyson. And I get the frustration from you guys. You're probably thinking the exact same thing that I thought when I initially saw this pick of, look, it's not a defensive lineman. It's not an offensive lineman. And I don't know if that makes much sense for the Baltimore Ravens, which is why I ultimately think Baltimore doesn't do it, okay? Like, last year, whenever Mel Kiper was saying Makai Starks, it was actually one of those things like, yeah, I don't think I would do that, but I could see the Baltimore Ravens 100% doing it, and they did it. This time around, it's like, Yeah, I'd probably do it, but will Baltimore? No. Okay, I don't think so. The only way they do is if it's just one of those deals, and I reference this every single time we talk about drafting a wide receiver. It might just be one of those deals where CeeDee Lamb, Dallas Cowboys, 2020. They had the 17th overall pick, and they thought no shot in hell CeeDee Lamb was going to fall all the way down to 27 or not 2017 to number 17, and he did. And they just couldn't pass up on him. Even though they had Amari Cooper in the building, Zeke Elliott, they had a lot of great offensive pieces. They were looking at this guy, and they went best player available, which we know Eric DeCosta does like to do that. The things that intrigue me is he is built like a wide receiver in the National Football League. 6'2", 200 pounds. He could play every single position at the wide receiver spot. Like you could put him in the slot, you could put him on the outside. He could go anywhere. You could throw him in motion. I think the biggest pro when it comes to him is his contested catch ability. It's not like Carnell Tate level, but like nobody's ever really is, but still something really, really impressive. Game in and game out, it seems like he's able to make these acrobatic, unbelievable catches, has great hands. Route running, really, really smooth. He's just looks like one of those guys that was born to be a wide receiver, if you get what I'm saying. And he's a big play threat. Every single time he touches the ball, you have no clue what he can do with it. But the biggest con is that injury history. Like I told you, ACL, MCL, PCL, which caused him to miss the entire 2023 season. Dealt with a hamstring injury this last year. He can struggle in his releases against bigger cornerbacks, like they can win and press from time to time. And he can get impatient and hurry his routes every so often as well. If Jordyn Tyson isn't the pick that I would make, like if I'm Eric DeCosta and the board falls to me that way, I don't think I'm taking Jordyn Tyson. But if that's Baltimore Ravens and Eric DeCosta decide to do, I'm not going to be mad. Okay, I can promise you that. I'm not going to stand there on draft night upset that I think they got maybe the best wide receiver in the draft. Okay? Best player available, it makes a lot of sense. Coming up, I'm going to give you my draft predictions. I think this is my first time I've given an official draft prediction. We are doing it Thursday, January 26th. But real quick, got to give a shout out to our sponsor. My wife, Kennedy, and I got married almost 2 years ago. I imagine we'll buy a house and start having kids maybe sometime soon. If something were to happen to me, the last thing I want the people I love to worry about is being able to pay the bills. So I trust Ethos to keep them protected. After watching someone close to me go through loss, I saw how quickly grief can turn into financial stress. That experience changed how I think about protecting my family. Life insurance isn't about expecting the worst, but it's about making sure the people you love are supported no matter what. That's why I recommend life insurance through Ethos. You can get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. Ethos is 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 3,000 reviews. Help protect your family with life insurance through Ethos. Get your instant free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times and rates may vary. My first NFL draft prediction coming at you Thursday, February 26th. The Baltimore Ravens trade down to the late teens, early 20s, and they draft a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman, and two names that I would look out for. More on them in a second. Vega Owane or Caden McDonald. Now, why do I think they're going to trade down? Well, it's simple. Because Eric DeCosta has basically said he loves that as his draft strategy. He loves picks. I look at the draft in many ways, DeCosta says, and I have to say it's a luck-driven process. If you have more picks, you're going to hit on more players. And that goes back to the philosophy that I think Ozzie started back in 1996. We started really going after picks and trading back as much as we could in any given round. And I just think with the talent at the top of this draft, that is exactly what Baltimore's going to do. Because they're going to say, hey, look, we have a guy that we like, but we think we could probably still get him 4 picks from now. Let's go ahead and pick up another third-round pick. How about that? Let's get another top 100, top 120 selection. So like I said, 2 guys I'd look out for. Oliva Vega, Owane, offensive lineman out of Penn State. I think I absolutely nailed that pronunciation. Offensive guard, to be specific. And Caden McDonald, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Let's start with Vega Awani. I think this guy is plug and play. He is your starting guard if you draft him at 14. He is your starting guard if you draft him at number 20. It really does not matter because you are going to need him. Praise God that Andrew Voorhees and Daniel Fa'alele are out the door, but you need somebody to bring in behind them. And I think Vega is that guy. Now, he's not a perfect player. He struggles in space from time to time, which is a little bit scary. You can get some Vietnam flashbacks because we know that Daniel Fa'alele struggled with that exact same thing. Regardless, though, I think he's a very, very, very promising player. Caden McDonald, on the other hand, is the defensive tackle I actually really, really like. Funny thing is, if I had the choice between Caden McDonald and Peter Woods, I would take Caden McDonald 10 times out of 10 before I take Caden Woods. Very productive final year at Ohio State. Put together two really good seasons back-to-back with 30 games played in a 2-year span. And over, if I do the quick math, 80 total tackles, 10.5 tackles for loss. Caden McDonald is what you would call a just unbelievable run defender. That is his forte. And necessarily, I don't need my interior defensive linemen to be unbelievable pass rushers. I'd like that. That is a plus, but that is not the only thing I'm looking for. Okay? I think it's more important for those guys to be able to stop the run. Name a player you want the Ravens to draft down below in the comments section. That's my prediction. They trade back from 14. They get Vega Awani or Caden McDonald. You let me know what you think or who you want them to draft. We're going to get out of here. But, hey, fear not. I know we were not live yesterday evening. We will be live tonight, 4 o'clock Central, 5 Eastern. We'll see you then.